What's going on, guys? It's your boy TanMista, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to get more elite powders in less time. This video is gonna be geared towards my new and beginner Maplestory M users because this is gonna clarify how I get enough powders to do Fusion Friday episodes every week. I have been getting a lot of YouTube comments on how I have enough material and powders to be fusing all these max level epic items every week, so hopefully this video will give you an insight as to how I would get these items and what I do on a weekly basis. If you guys were expecting a video of a secret mission or quest that gives you 100 daily powders per day, I'm so sorry, this is not it. This is gonna be just a video on how I use my alts and get enough powders for my Fusion Fridays every week. So there are two main ways to get powders, and they both involve an alt character. An alt character is pretty much just another character in addition to your main account, so it's just pretty much a character that you create specifically just to fund your main account. The first method of using your alt to get powders is by leveling your alt characters to level 82, and then you're gonna delete it and rinsing and repeating the cycle. The pros to this method is that you will get a lot of powders. You're gonna roughly get 221 weapon powders, 172 armor powders, and roughly 2.8 mil after doing this method. And I got this reference from a Reddit post. I'm gonna link it in the description below. It might be a little outdated because it was made a couple of months ago, but I'm sure Nexon has nerfed the powders at least by a little bit, if not the misos. But it's gonna be generally in that ballpark, so that's a good idea as to how much you would make if you were to create an alt character all the way to level 82. Another pro to this method is that this method requires no funding on the character whatsoever. All you have to do is press auto quest from level 1 to 82 and you will get all your powders by the end of the mission. The final pro to this method is that it's a great way to get perfect base attack weapons and armors, because doing these quests will give you weapon and armor rank up stones. So you could just start off your item from scratch, find a perfect base attack weapon or armor, and then you could level it up all the way to epic and have perfect stats. Now, while there are a lot of pros to this method, there's also a lot of cons as well. When I first started Maplestory, I did use the first method, but now I've switched over to the second method. One of the major cons of this method is that it's extremely time consuming. To level an alt from level 1 to 82 would take roughly 9 hours of consistent gameplay. If you aren't playing consistently, it may take a couple of days to level from 1 to 82, so it's extremely time consuming and you will have to have a lot of time on your hands to be running this method every day. A second con to this method is that you have to wait a week every time you delete an alt, so that could be extremely frustrating if you don't have enough character slots and you will have to wait a week just to create another alt. This brings it to my final con of this method, and it's because it's a bad investment. No one's gonna have 9 hours a day to spend on this game every day, because that's literally a full-time job, and just in the long run it won't have any rewards. You do get immediate powders every day from this method. You do get like 200 weapon powders and about like 150 armor powders, but to be sustaining this in the long run will not suffice, and it's just good for the immediate time being, but not in the long run. Now, some of you guys are wondering, what's the second method? Well, that's the method that I use to be providing you Fusion Friday episodes every week, and the main method that I choose. The second method involves getting your alt account to level 115 at minimum. You could also do 105, but I prefer 115 at minimum, and then you're just going to be running elite dungeons every day on your alt accounts, and that's how you'll be getting your powders. For this method, I'm gonna start off with the cons first. So the cons to this method is that it requires your character to be semi-funded, because if your character is not strong enough to clear the dungeon, you're gonna be failing the dungeon. And I usually have at least a minimum requirement of a unique weapon on all my alts. If you're gonna be partying up with someone else, it'll be a lot easier, but if you plan on soloing the dungeons, a unique weapon at minimum is usually what I prefer. Another major con to this method is that it takes quite a while to level your account to level 115. However, this is a great long-term investment, because as opposed to the other method, your characters can be deleted after a week and you don't really get rewards from that character. This character instead will be reaping rewards for you after you hit level 115, because you're going to be getting powders every week from then on out. Now, the major pro to this method is that you don't have to spend much time on these alt characters every day. At max, usually it takes 5 to 6 minutes a dungeon, and that's if you're soloing the dungeon. And let's say you run 5 times a day, that'll be 30 minutes per character every day, which is not a lot of time compared to the 9 hours you're spending on the other alt character. Now, of course, this does vary on how many alt characters you have. For me, for example, I have 10 alt characters, so sometimes it could take me 5 to 6 hours to finish all my dailies, but these characters are permanent. You know, you don't have to delete these characters, and with 10 alt characters, you will get a lot more powders than you would with one alt character for 9 hours a day. If you see my last video, I mentioned that I opened a Discord channel where I try to get everyone from every server to join the channel, and it'll just be a way for everyone to run elite dungeons together, so you won't have to struggle like me soloing these dungeons, taking 5 to 6 minutes a dungeon, and this will take me like 30 minutes per character, which is a crazy long time. If you were partying with 1 or 2 members, it will significantly drop the runtime a lot by at least half, and your time spent on these elite dungeons will be cut significantly. If you have been watching the video, all these characters that I've been playing on have been running with another member, and it has been clearing the dungeon in about 2 or 3 minutes as opposed to 5 to 6 minutes, so it cuts the time by half, and it just greatly improves my runtime, and it gives me more time to spend more time on my main account. If anyone is interested in joining the Discord channel, I'm gonna leave a link in the description below. My goal here is to create a community where everyone can run elite dungeons together regardless of what server you're from, because I separated every channel by server, so you could choose whether it's a normal dungeon or hard dungeon you want to run and just ask anyone who wants to run with you. I know the struggle of having to wait in the lobby for a super long time, hoping someone will come in and finally finding that one person to run with and be super relieved, but I want to relieve that anxiety and just have someone you could choose from a whole list, everyone from your server, and just ask anyone who is interested in running at that same time, so it'll make life easier and just make the gaming experience a lot better. You don't have to spend too much time on your alts and put all that time into your main account instead. Another major pro of this method is that you could fill your Maple M Tree Festival really quick, and this gives you a passive on all your characters and gives you extra stats just for having a certain amount of characters. To me, I guess this is like Nexon's way of giving you an incentive to make more than one character, not just have one main character. Instead, if you have a bunch of characters, the stats you get from leveling up these characters will fund every other character. So for example, my account that I just made, it already has like 6.5% physical attack increase just from starting the character itself, especially because I have so many alts. I already have a double S on the maple tree, so it just gives an amazing stat boost to all your characters and gives you an incentive to create more characters. A third and final pro to this method is that you could experience different classes. If you have so many different alts, you might as well try different classes. However, I do suggest you make an Evan because Evans are extremely powerful right now. I personally have 4 already, and I already have 6 more character slots left, so you already know I'm making 10 Evans total. And the reason why I make so many Evans is because they do so much damage. They don't have to be totally funded to be doing a lot of damage. I just give them one unique weapon and they could solo the bosses super fast just with Dragon Dive, and it's easy clear. So I suggest you make Evans because I think that's the most affordable and best way to use your alts. What I highly suggest you do not create is a Dawn Warrior, because Jesus, those are the longest clear time for my dungeons. It'll take me like 6-7 minutes to clear a dungeon, and it's extremely not worth it. And considering how funded my Dawn Warrior has like 40k CP and is still not doing as much damage as my 25k CP Evan, I suggest you guys make an Evan instead of just trying out random characters. Okay, so once you have all your alts to level 115 or 125, then you're just gonna be doing elite dungeons every day, and by the end of the week, I personally save it all up until Friday so I could use it all together for my Fusion Friday episodes, but you guys could feel free to use it whenever. But I'm just showing you from my accounts what I would get on a weekly basis. I'm gonna just go through all my alts and show you how many powders I get, and that's how I would have enough materials to max out epic items every week. Now the powders do vary between different characters because some may be getting more powders per other characters, because it depends on luck on how many powders you get per run. And also usually if I have people running hard dungeons with me, then I will run some hard dungeons, so not necessarily I'll get everything for armor powder. Some of them I'll run it for weapon powder, so it just depends on the character and the situation. This pretty much wraps up the video for me. I will be making a video on tips when creating an alt account, so make sure you look out for that video. Hope you guys got a little insight as to what I do on a weekly basis to give you these Fusion Friday episodes every week. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like, comment, and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.